from Georgia Department of Transportation, and depending on the decision of the council tonight, I will work with him on that, in addition to the no through trucks on Lonoke Street, to keep them off Main Street and the railroad crossing. They will work on that signage, and if the city council approves this recommendation of Street and Public Works Committee, they will help with that signage on US 29, State Route 14.
Okay, what's the will of the council? You have a motion to, I guess at this point we need to draw up an ordinance or direct the attorney to draw up an ordinance, is that correct?
Correct. But if there's a motion to approve, I can start working with the area engineer of GDOT.
Make the motion to approve the no-through trucks on Lonoke Road. So Mr. Crusade would continue his work.
Okay, I have a motion to a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions or discussion?
I do, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to say, and I'm all for progress and working for the betterment of this city. We held a street and public work meeting concerning Lonoke Road and Ward Road on November the 29th. And after discussing this road situation, Mr. Greasaper and Mr. King agreed for signage for Lonoke Road. However, more research needed to be done for Ward Road. Now, we're speaking of only 6/10 of a mile on Lonoke Road that was discussed at. The part that was discussed at our Street and Public Works meeting, that is used by trucks traveling to the landfill in Meriwether County. Now, with that said, I requested that we check with the landfill personnel to see if they knew how many trucks use Lonoke Road to get to the landfill. I also asked that we get the company name, because the landfill personnel could tell us the weight of those trucks traveling Lonoke Road as well. However, when all was said, the manager said he would order signage for Lonoke Road for no-through trucks. Now, this is what concerns me about this 6/10 of a mile on Lonoke Road. And I understand you're talking about another portion of Lonoke Road tonight. Our engineer states that he had not done a recent inspection of Lonoke Road, but he would do so in the next visit, on his next visit to Grantville. Now we are getting signage for Lonoke Road requested by one person, and we are doing it without a recent inspection. However, one person on Ward Road is making a request for the city to maintain Ward Road, and the manager said he would have to do research since only 2 families lived on this dead-end road. Now, my concern is this: if research have to be done for one road, why can't we do research for both roads so that we can make a fair and just decision for both situations? That's my question. Now, with the above being said, please know I am not in favor of signage for Lonoke Road until we find answers to Ward Road. And I believe we will, and I believe we can. I also realize that, you know how the rumor mill is in Grantville. Longtime citizen congratulated me on winning the election. And he said, Ruby, it has already been stated that 3 people will run the city of Grantville. Well, people of God, I want to say this to you tonight. God is still on the throne. He had the first word in the beginning. He's going to have the last word in the end. I do hope that we can give equal attention to all of our roads in Grantville. We have Host Claus Road that needs attention. We have Rock Street that run parallel to Shepherd Street and Church Street that needs attention. We have Meriwether Street. We have several streets that needs to be brought up to par, if you will. So while we are looking after Lone Oak Road, and we should look after all roads, we should have the same concern for all. Please keep in mind that we need to pay equal attention to all of our roads and listen to all of our citizens. Because you have one person who came from planning and zoning with a request for Lone Oak Road. You had one person who came from planning and zoning making a request for Ward Road. If you're going to do research for one, let's do research for all, and then come back with a solution, in my humble opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, Miss Ruby, what road is Ward Road? I'm sorry, I bet I know where it
It's
is.
off 29.
It's, you know where Lowry Road turns right? Just past that, Ward Road turns left. But the planning and zoning, we're not discussing Ward Road, we're discussing Lone Oak Road, and that's what planning and zoning has approved to have the signage there. One question I have is, when we say no through trucks, what does that mean? I mean, I've seen that sign in many communities, but what does it mean? Are we talking about tractor trailers? I don't know how we clarify what trucks. And I understand the problem, and I see it. I'm on the corner, so he's not the only one that wants those trucks stopping and going down Lowry Road. I blew a tire Lono. I blew a tire from where that 0.6 of a mile where it hit the road and it had been eaten out about a third of the way into the road. I didn't see the hole in time, and it was a good size hole. It's since been repaired, but that's next to my office there.
I think the issue is that because of the landfill back here behind us, that Lone Oak Road is being overused by refuse trucks, heavy refuse trucks, and I think they're wearing out the street, and I think they're pretty consistently leaving trash up and down the road from 29 to the city limits, and that's one of our entry roads into the city. And I don't know the answer, but I think that there's definitely gonna have to be some special permit type stuff. You can't tell everybody in a truck not to use that road. Some people might drive a truck and live down there, but they're not through trucks. So, I mean, I think it needs addressing. I don't, some things that were said there, I don't know where that came from, but I think it needs addressing. Not to overlook Ward Road, but that's not what's on the table right now, like you said.
Excuse me, I'm referencing what was discussed in the Streets and Public Week.
Well, I wasn't addressing that, Ms. Ruby. I was talking about the comment you made about 3 people going around the city. I've never heard that
Okay,
before.
well, it's a lot of things we have not heard, but let me just say this. In the Street and Public Work meeting, we discussed Lone Oak Road and Wards Road. So that's why I'm referencing it tonight.
Yeah, are there, just a question, are there a lot of 18-wheeler, 48,000-pound trucks that travel up and down Ward Road? Or is it how many people to live on it? I mean, I'm just asking.
I think that's part of Ms. Hines' point is, we don't know, and we should know before we,
Ward Road is a dead-end road. What are we talking about Ward Road in relation to semis coming down and tearing up Lone Oak Road?
The reference is, when we are doing research for Lone Oak Road, let's do the research for Ward Road so that we can eliminate both problems at the same time. Yes, Ward Road is dead end, but it is a city road. Rock Street is a city road. with 2 houses on it that's that's not occupied. So, the situation is, we are laying emphasis on one road more so than other roads that have similar problems, other than 18-wheelers that's on the road. No, 18-wheelers will not go on a dead-end road unless they live there.
Well, I'm just saying, if we get back to the motion at hand, Lone Oak Road is a concern. They are tearing it up. They are that road was not built to have these loaded up semis going to the dump. And yes, it's a problem. Yes, it's tearing up the road. I've seen it, and I see it every day. So as I understand why planning and zoning said put the signs up.
Anybody else?
If the engineer said he needs to inspect the road, and I have the email that he sent, I think it would be wise to let the engineer come in and make his recommendation.
As the engineer stated, the underlayment on that road is not built in such a way to substantiate such traffic. This is a problem we need to address here tonight, not sometime next year.
We are talking about 6/10 of a mile. Do we need to have the road upgraded so that the trucks can travel the road?
That's not our responsibility.
We already spent to do
I don't
that.
mean we as such, I mean the state or the splash funds. We use splash fund for the city, for this village.
These people had no
Yeah.
business using that road to get to the dump. That's not the route they're supposed to be taking. They're taking advantage of Grantville right now, and these signs should at least give us the ability to try to slow that down. That is not the access road to the dump.
It may not be the access road, but it may be a road that they could use to get where they're going. And plus the fact, we have to keep in mind that splash money is used for roads, and anyone who's spending money in Cayuga County, money is used for roads, whether they are from Atlanta or from New Jersey. However, that is how I feel about that.
Okay, anybody else? All right, I just want to say I agree with most everything that Ms. Hines said. Mr. Wake's reference to what would or would not be allowed to go up and down there, that would be established by the ordinance. We could do it by weight. The state of Georgia already has definitions of trucks and what have you. And one concern I'm hearing tonight that concerns me is we're talking about trash trucks. Now, are we setting our sights on just trash trucks that we don't want to come through there? Because I don't know that we can legally restrict just one business going up and down there. But also, what concerns me is the fact that everybody on Facebook, everybody when they run for public office, they say, we want growth in the city. And then they say we want growth, but we're gonna block every road so nobody can come in and out. Now, that's just not making sense to me. This road is not substantial enough for these large trucks to go up and down. However, they can be made substantial. And if we ever expect growth to come here, industry or so forth, we can't just shut the town down or limit it so they can only go in and out on one street. That's what I got to say about it. Anybody got anything else to say? Hearing nothing else, no other comments? All in favor of making, agreeing to no through trucks for Lone Oak, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The Lone Oak will be made one way, the ayes have it. However, for the record, I want to note it in the minutes, the mayor is in opposition to this.
You said it'll be made one way, you meant.
I meant.
No trucks, yeah, I just, I was really gonna have a problem with
That's
that.
loud as me. Thank you, appreciate it. All right. Next order of business, revision to the code of ordinance section 26-109.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. The city attorney has prepared an ordinance. It is in your book. This ordinance is number 2018-08, although it doesn't have a cover sheet on it. That's what the ordinance will be. It deals with the ability of the city to clean up property that is overgrown or has weeds on it, and following a procedure in the suggested revision to the code. If it is not done, the city can do it, and they will be able to have a lien in the favor of the city of Grantville, along with the admin costs of $100. In other words, the lien, if the homeowner did not do it after being properly notified, it would be the actual cost of remedying the violation. In addition, an admin fee of $100 would be for the first violation. The second, within 12 months, the administrative penalty would be $250. And the third would be in municipal court, which could have a fine of $1,000. I will say it goes $100, $250. The third violation would be $500, and then it could go back to municipal court. Of course, it starts out in municipal court once the code enforcement officer has issued a citation.
This will be the first reading of that ordinance?
Yes, sir. And it'll be on file with the city clerk.
Okay. So no action is required.
No action is required. Yes, sir, that is correct.
Next order of business will be the courtware non-exclusive license agreement.
Yes, sir. This is an updated agreement. The city attorney has reviewed it. Basically, they have added a $1 per usage on the use of courtware. It used to be $10 per paid violation. It is now $11 per paid violation. This is used by our municipal court, and we recommend approval.
Okay, you have a motion to approve the non-exclusive license agreement.
And allow the mayor to sign, please.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the courtware non-exclusive license agreement and for you to sign it.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
Have a motion, second, any question? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered. Next order of business be James Berry's request for reimbursement for payment due to sewer blockage.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This was a request from Mr. and Mrs. Berry that came to the city council. They have an agenda item request. We have replied to their request. However, they asked that it be on the city council agenda. We replied to them by letter, which said, allow me to address your first complaint for sewer blockage, lack of reimbursement of $1,554. The sewer blockage occurred in the service line to the city's main sewer line. Therefore, after reviewing all of your documents, the city of Grantville declines to reimburse you for $1,554. And with that, we sent a copy of our code and ordinance, section 38-32, which basically says if the sewer blockage is in the service line, it is the customer's responsibility.
And they have asked to speak on this and tell their side of the situation also.
Yes, sir.
At this time, I'm gonna, James, are you the one that wants to speak on that?
Yeah, me and my wife both. How y'all doing? My name is Dee Berry, and I live at 2 Post Street, Grantville, Georgia.
And my name is Dee Berry, 2 Post Street, Grantville, Georgia. And we resided in Grantville since 2006. We're not landlords, and I'd just like to say Jesus is our landlord. I hope you will agree that we need transparency and integrity in city government. Yes. You've hired a city manager, Mr. Al Grishager. Recently learned that he's also known as Mr. G. And you have expressed your expectations for a city manager and put your trust in him. Well, Mr. G sent a message to me when I came to City Hall to view a public record, that if I came back to request any more public records, that I would have to make a deposit. I'm not sure where that requirement appears in the Open Records Act, but I got that message through the city clerk's office. I have some concerns. And they relate to our city government. The municipal code is published online says that in section 202, the terms of the mayor and 2 council members from posts 1 and 2, respectively, who were elected in 2014 shall end on December 31, 2019. Where is the city attorney? I don't understand why we have things online that are inaccurate. I believe that was proposed, it was not approved, so the terms were not extended, but it's indicated online that they were. So you're getting inaccurate information. When I try to get public records, I come to the city hall, I get copies of minutes, not signed, stamped draft. Now I don't come all the way to City Hall to get a draft. When I come, I want certified records. And I don't like to be intimidated. I don't like to be told if you come back here, you're gonna make a deposit. There's something definitely wrong going on here. Our initial claim is on this agenda. We've had 2, and I noticed the city manager put a 3rd one on there, which was in his authority to resolve it. It was a request to get $100 back because we purchased 2 bricks. They didn't put the bricks down, would not give us the bricks, so we said, okay, give us the $100 back. We'd rather have the bricks because they're special bricks that were going to be placed on Main Street. That could have been done by the city manager. He's done it for other people. Why are we being put through this intimidation and through this stress? But to get back to the point at hand, claim number 1, our initial claim, it relates to a written request that was prepared with a paid invoice, documentation, and pictures, and was filed with the city clerk on March 29th. We asked for reimbursement of plumbing charges to unblock a city sewer located on College Street. We live on Post Street. After no reply, we filed a formal claim with the city clerk on May the 15th, 2018. The city manager has the complete file. To this day, we have not received a written response from the manager of our Grantville Utility Department. This repair total $1,554. And after patiently waiting for response for 5 months, speaking with the city manager, we were told that he did not approve the request, did not feel it necessary to send us a written response to explain the reason, and the city was not going to reimburse us. We respectfully request a consideration and vote by the city council regarding this administrative decision. Also, please note that previous owners of 2 Post Street informed us, these are the Palmers, that the large city trees on College Street have been the cause of sewer blockage overflow in past years, and the roots from these trees will cause a similar problem in the future. Pictures were provided that showed a green dot painted on the sidewalk by the plumbing company that cleared the blockage. The mark is on the College Street sidewalk. On our plat map for the property, that the blockage is under the sidewalk and not on our property. Now,
And the city engineer, Mr. Ron, he was there during the whole process of clearing out this thing. And what he was saying, he brought 2 of his city workers down there. He didn't know where the sewer was. He sent us up here to the Grain Street up here. He sent us back down here to the baseball park and stuff. He didn't know. So we had to call Eddie Mitchell to find out where the drain was. So we found the drain, the city sewer in Miss, what her name is, Laura's yard. We had to dig the top off, the grass off the city sewer to get to the drain. And then when they put the cameras down there, Ron and his 2 workers said that if it's in the city line, then they would take care of it. So they brought the camera there and stuff, and then the sewer top to get into the city sewage. And then they had to run the cameras from the city to our line. And when they found out that the line, that the stoppage was in the city line, the drain couldn't go back out through the sewage, so it backed up back in our yard up under the basement. So Ron said that he hoped they could get it cleaned out without tearing up the sidewalk, because they had a lot of cords, a lot of wires going in there, and he hoped they could do that. So I told him, okay, we do that. Then he sent me down there to see the city manager. I said, okay, so me and the city manager talked, and the city manager told me that if it was in the city line, that the city would take care of the property. So when they sent the thing, the plumbers wrote the book, showed the pictures and everything, and we sent them to him. But now we get the idea that he's not going to pay, the city's not going to pay. But what my concern is, if you're going to have a city engineer and he can't find the sewers in the city, then why are you going to pay the city engineer all this money? And he was there on the spot. And then he had his 2 people want to go down there in the thing to clean it out in order for the water to come out, the drain to come out through the sewage and going on. I take what the engineer said too, if I hired him, but he have to know what he doing. So we go down there to get Eddie, to find out where the sewer is. He should know where the sewer is in the city of Granville. Everybody else know, all the old people know where the city sewer is.
okay?
Look, that sewer been stopped up several times. I done cleaned it out. I worked for the city, and it was on the city, out there side the road. I done blowed it out there several times when the Palmer stayed there. So I don't see no problem with it, but y'all dealing with them.
Thank you.
Okay, what the other?
Any questions? Any questions?
What the expenses on this? What did y'all have done? Did y'all had y'all sewer line pumped out or replaced?
When he went in to pump out our sewer line, he put the camera, they couldn't find it, so they went and got the camera. And the camera cost over $200, $150 to $200. Okay, so when he ran the camera down through our line, he said he couldn't find it right there. So he said, we need to go to the city, cause when from our house all the way up to the city, to the street, it was clear to the where the sewer was stopped at. So he had to go and come from the city side. But when he got Ron was down there, and the thing, Ron said he didn't know where the sewer was and stuff. So he went and got Eddie to show him where the sewer was. So when we got to the sewer and took the top off the sewer, after they took the grass and stuff off the sewer line, then they had to go down through the sewer and put on these white suits because the sewer was stopped up down there. And so they had to go down there and then use the camera to find out exactly where it was. And when they found out where it was on the sidewalk. On the sidewalk. So Ron said, well, he hoped they could unstop it because he didn't want to tie up the sidewalk because all the lines and little cables and things was on that sidewalk and stuff. So he said, well, we'll fix it. But he sent me to the city, and I told the city manager, well, Ron said, and Ron was down there too. And the city manager said that, okay, if it's on the city, we'll take care of it. But now he went back on his word.
So y'all spent $1,500+ worth of private plumbing?
Sure did.
Yes. Before they even started working. James
Why did, well, I was just, if it was a private plumber, why did they go out into the city lines?
They had to go through the city line to unstop it. It wasn't stopped up on our property. And the camera, when he put the camera down through our line, it ran all the way to the city line. And that's what the stoppers was, to the city line, out in the street. Our property don't run to the street and stuff. And then the trees, the obstacle that was stopping it is on the city property anyway. So he said about another year or two, we probably have to go through this again.
And that's why they're asking for a reimbursement.
I just wanted a better understanding of it, that's all.
Okay.
My concern is if the previous owners had the same problem, and you're having the problem that the previous owner had, and the city came to their rescue, and your house is in the same place, and the sewage is in the same place, to me, it's almost a no-brainer. The city needs to reimburse you for what you have, the expense you have incurred, because the previous owner had the same problem, and the city took care of it.
Yeah, we're concerned, Mr. Mayor, and the council members that reside in Grantville. We're concerned because we pay on our bill, there's a line item that says sewer. Fees that we pay, since we've been there in 2006, we're paying into the sewer account. Now, is a problem because there ain't no money in the sewer account? I don't know what's going on, because we paid our taxes. And everybody in here that lives in Grantville pays taxes into the sewer. So,
Ms. Berry, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
My question is the high cost of cleaning out a sewer line. I have this done from time to time. Why is the cost of cleaning out that sewer line so exorbitant?
Well, he said he had to go get the camera. They had to bring in a big equipment and stuff to run through there and going on the thing. So that's what he did. That's what they did. They ran the case.
Do you by chance have any receipts from them? Have you turned any of those? Well, that's my question.
Yeah, we paid them.
Mr. Al, if you...
They do have a receipt.
Okay.
It's in the package. It's for $1,554. They had a tractor for $715, jetting the sewer line, jet main line, for $500, camera drain line locate, $150, replace 4-inch plastic clean out, $189, and that totals $1,554.
and if I'd like to add one thing, Mr. Mayor, we dealt with this unsanitary condition from, was it 2 weeks? All this waste backed up into our backyard. When it came out of our house, down the line, couldn't go through to the sewer. It just kept piling up, piling up. Then it blew out back up into our backyard. It was very disgusting. Very.
Mr. Al, forgive me for not, I don't want to butcher your name again. Have any other, I mean, this is city sewer, have other residents had a blockage problem?
Yeah.
Well, number one, let me clarify that. Mr. Berry's correct. I said if it is on the city sewer line, the city would pay.
Yes.
This was not on the city sewer line. This was on the service line connected to the city main line. The reason they had to go in the manholes was to go back up the service line to clean out the blockage. The blockage was in the service line. That is why it backed up into the yard and everything. It couldn't go through the service line. They tried to go down from the property through the service line, could not do it, so they went into the manholes to clear it from the main line back.
The service line, you said the service line, our service line connect to the city line in the middle of the street and stuff. And the blocking from the camera, when he put that camera down there, it came through our line all the way to the blockers of the street. When he go in your line, in the city line, he still had to come to the blockers of the street because that's where the blockers was in the street. And going on, and the sidewalks is not ours. The tree down there on the thing is not ours. Our service line from the house all the way to connected to the city line, that's the one stopped up.
That's right.
That's my point exactly. It was the service line that was stopped up. All service lines are customer responsibility.
Not for the city, not to the city. If it's on the city, how can we connect to the service line, to your service line, and we paying for that service line from our line to your line? And going on, and when your line stopped up, and you can come all the way through my line to your line, and going on, and then it won't go no further, then it got to back up to my house.
So basically, the blockage was in
The service line.
Okay, okay.
Okay, anybody else got anything?
You know,
I think at this point, we can discuss it all night long, but at this point, we just need to make a decision.
you know, Mr. Mayor and all, I believe since it has been stated what's causing this problem, we need to solve the problem that's causing the problem. And because these, as I stated, the previous owners had these same problems, I would be in favor of reimbursing the Berries for the cost that they have incurred in this and solving the problem that is causing this problem.
Yes. Amen. Thank you.
I make a motion to what I just said.
Yeah, make a motion to reimburse the Berries, what, $1,500?
$1,554.
$1,554 for the sewer line. Do I have a second to the motion? Do I have a second?
Oh, my Lord.
Okay, let the record show that the motion failed for lack of a second.
All right. Take it to a high level.
Mayor, this is gonna get out of hand if the audience is allowed to continue.
Oh.
We're here, certainly not everyone's gonna agree with our.
He's the mayor and he's presiding. You need to let him do that.
Discussion of application for historic preservation.
Yes, sir.
Commission.
We have another concern from the Berries. There's 3 on the agenda. The second, which again, and there was a reference to not receipt of a letter. The letter that was sent out on November the 29th, 2018 addressed their second request. And that second complaint was for excessive utility charges for the years 2016, 2018. It had two components. One, it requested an audit. And I responded that if the request was for an energy audit, we could accommodate them, although there may be a charge for it, we can schedule it. And an energy audit, when scheduled, is done by the engineers for Electricity of Georgia. So we can do that. I also said that if there was a financial audit, that would be something that the city would not pay for. But the crux of their complaint, I believe, is their change of rates from residential to commercial. And I responded, 2 Post Street is located in the commercial residential zoning district. As defined, this district is designed to provide a high-quality environment for limited retail activities, offices for professional services, and residential uses as part of the commercial structure. Further, I said, residential use is only as part of the commercial structure, not the primary use of the structure. I also said a business license has been issued for 2 Post Street, further indicating that residential use is secondary to the commercial structure. Therefore, in the totality of circumstances, it's concluded that commercial utility rates are appropriate for 2 Post Street. And again, we sent them a copy of Article 4 of the zoning ordinance. I will mention that other buildings in the commercial residential zoning district are charged commercial rates. It applies to the whole district. So that was their second complaint.
And on that complaint,
Do you want to address that tonight?
on that complaint, we want to know why just Bunny Castle, one house on the street is commercial resident, and then we paying the whole thing. And the house next door, the house across the street is not commercial, but only one house on the street is commercial, and that's Bunny Castle. And then if you're gonna change the zoning law, then the state of Georgia state that we should be informed when you change that law, or when you make that change and going on. We ain't never got no letter or nothing stating that this gonna be changed.
We paid residential rates since 2006. And the last time we came before you complained about our high utility bills, we didn't know that the city manager had changed our rate from residential to commercial. He made a unilateral decision. He couldn't even show me any procedures or any written rules why he did it. The previous owners paid, the Palmers, the previous owners paid residential rates. We moved in 2006. We paid residential rates until sometime last year. We didn't know that they had switched it over to commercial. The use that's made of our property is residential. It's residential use. We are grandfathered in. And to make matters worse, I wish the city attorney were here, because he knows that when those zoning changes were made and people voted on those zoning changes, it was invalid, conflict of interest. This is going to explode because it was done wrong. We weren't notified. The people that knew about it were the ones who initiated it for their own, lining their own pockets. Now this, we have paid residential rates. We want our rate returned to residential rates. That's what we're asking for. And we want a refund of the excess fees that you charged us. This is not right. No notice, no prior notice, no public hearing, nothing. Just change rates and send somebody a bill. So that's what we're complaining about. The amending of zoning ordinance was done illegally. The fees and charges schedule could not produce that. Whenever we come down to City Hall and ask for something in writing, we get the runaround. Well, we don't have that. I can't even come in there and look at the zoning map because it's locked up in the city clerk's office. The zoning map is supposed to be out here for everybody to look at. So, I know we have a lot of things that we're concerned about right now, but part of it is on the city. The reason why you're treating residents this way is what's going on, and it needs to stop. We pay taxes and we need to be treated with respect and dignity. We have not received a bill from you saying you didn't pay your taxes, so we're going to do this to you. No, we pay our taxes. And this residential rate that you slapped, this commercial rate you slapped on us is invalid, and it needs to be reversed. And that's why we came to the city council, because the city manager will not address any issues. I don't know what he's being paid for, but when we go down there, I got to give that to the city council. He's the administrator. He can make certain decisions. He can make these decisions. But he declines to do it. He just shoves it over on the city. We shouldn't even be talking about this. Shoves it over to the city council.
In defense of the city manager now, any change of zoning like that, I'm sure he realized that has to be done by ordinance. Do you know when the ordinance was done? Or was it ever changed?
No, sir, I don't.
It was, man, it was before your time. I remember when it was done. I wasn't happy with it either. I pay commercial rates all across downtown. I've got apartments that are residential. I don't pay commercial rates in my rental houses, but ever since they changed the ordinance, all my downtown apartments, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 residences, and I've paid commercial rates ever since. You know, and you got a business license, so you're telling us you got a business license, but you're not commercial. So it kind of, I'm paying commercial rates, and it wasn't done behind the closed doors. I mean, it was before your time.
So it's 4 years old,
When was it done?
at least.
Well, he hasn't been here 4 years. Who was the first city
It was
manager?
done in 2012, I believe.
Okay.
Well, then it was done during my watch. But I've been paying commercial rates downtown for several years, and I remember when it happened. But it is what it is.
Well, how come that no one ever notified us? You were notified. So how we were notified about it?
Well, if he said it's 2012, I'm sorry you're just finding out.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Now, we've been paying this thing, then all of a sudden it jumps up out of here and going on the thing. And I don't understand that either. But just one house, and that's a bed and breakfast house, and they've been putting bread and breakfast in that ever since we came here. It was a bread and breakfast house and stuff. And now all of a sudden it gets commercial, and 18 this year, and we've been paying for 17. All of a sudden, it don't run up.
Well, we can't be held responsible for what happened before, but, you know, we're trying to correct what needs to be corrected now.
Okay.
So,
And you did, Miss Berry, mention that somebody was lining their pockets. You can certainly say the city's grabbing money, but there's no individual lining their pockets with this extra money. It's being spent in the city day-to-day business.
You know, one suggestion might be, is if you might want to consider dropping your business license, and then I guess at some point in time, because y'all are across the street, you might could look at a waiver in the zoning. I don't know, but as right now, that's the first step, is maybe not having a business license.
Well, why should we just drop our business license?
I think
And go
They've
on.
been in there
that's the crux
since,
of it, that without the business license, then it would be a residential thing, am I correct? Or
Yeah, but it still falls in that zoning. in
still under that
in
zoning?
that
Still
zoning.
be?
Okay.
Okay. I stand corrected.
I was just trying to help.
And Mr. Berry's correct. It stops right at his house. It doesn't go further. That's the residential. That's the zoning classification.
That we,
And everybody in that classification is treated the same. The city manager can't make exceptions for one house or the other. Everyone's treated the same.
and the zoning line, as far as your house being the only one, the line's got to be drawn somewhere. It just happens to be, in this case, include your property, and not the neighbor. But, my suggestion is that the council look into, seeing if the ordinance, the zoning ordinance needs to be changed in some way. And that would be my recommendation.
Well, that's what I was suggesting, but I wouldn't consider changing it unless they done away with the business license.
No, we
I
just
mean, I
look
think that's only
into,
right.
look into what we could do.
But if they dropped it, then being that they're over there by yourself in that corner.
if the zoning change was made in 2012, why are we just not learning about it? And why is it the rates changed last year? That was 2017. If it changed in 2012, and I've got my doubts because I've been looking through the minutes and I've been doing research, and the city did not follow the procedures set out in the zoning procedures law, Title 36. They did not follow the proper procedures. The city attorney knows about this. I wish he were here. You can ask your planning administrator. He knows about it. I wish he was here. It was not done properly. We were not notified. We were living in that house in 2012. Here it is, 6 years later, and we're just now finding out about it. We did not get notification. Bottom line.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The only other issue remaining is the bricks. Do we know where the bricks were ordered what? I know the brick project was something that downtown development supposedly created, and I, as a citizen, opposed to the city getting involved in it at all, but that fell on deaf ears. Do we know anything about the bricks?
What I know about the bricks is that there are some bricks in the old gym. I have looked through those bricks and cleaned them off as best I could. Some have names on them, but none have Mr. or Mrs. Berry's name on there. There are 2 bricks that are blank, but there are no bricks with the name Berry on them.
Do we have any in the safe? At one time, there was some on the pallet in the safe.
I have no idea of that.
Like I say, I know that was an undertaking by the Downtown Development Authority, and the only thing the city clerk did was to take the money and the receipt of it. I don't know
What is this receipt dated? Was this a refund, or was this where y'all paid for the bricks?
where they paid for the receipt.
I make a motion that we refund the $100 to the Berries for the 2 bricks.
Second that motion?
Have a motion to refund $100 for the cost of the 2 bricks. Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered. They will be refunding the $100.
Mr. Mayor, can I just ask one thing? On the issue with utility rates, could that be tabled until the city attorney can can give his
We're
opinion
gonna,
on that.
we're gonna look into that ordinance altogether.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now we're down to discussion of application for Historic Preservation Commission application, Selma Cody. Now, you got anything on that?
Ms. Cody has put her application in, and it's certainly in the discretion of the city council to consider it and do what they feel is the appropriate course of action.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept Selma Cody's application for appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept Mrs. Cody's application to the HPC Commission.
I'll
Okay, I have a
second.
motion, do I have a second? You second?
I second.
Have a motion, second, question? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Ms. Cody is appointed to the Historic Preservation.
The next item, Mr. Mayor, is something that we do on an annual basis. It is that MEAG acts as a broker to sell excess reserve capacity to the city of Granville as needed. It comes from the city of Thomasville, and it comes down to us at a cheaper price, or a cheap price of $2 per kilowatt hour, and we recommend approval of this agreement.
Okay, you've heard the report and recommendation of the city manager. Which will of the council?
Make a motion that we approve this and authorize the mayor to sign.
Have a motion, to have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any question?
Yeah, Al, who is we? When you say we approved it, who is we?
MEAG Power, their regional manager, Stuart Jones.
All right, but isn't he the authority that's presenting this to us? Has anybody looked at it as far as on our benefit, what's best?
Yes, sir, he has. And
What do you think of it?
I think it's a good deal because we're buying cheap power that we can't get off the spot market. City of Thomasville has a lot of excess power.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any further question? Hearing none, all in favor, vote signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered. Next order of business be discussion decision on Fox Theater Institute consulting agreement, grant due December the 15th, 2018.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This agreement has been reviewed by the city attorney. He had some concerns. They have now been addressed. This is our consulting agreement wherein Fox Theater has given us a matching grant of $32,190 to plan the renovation of the municipal auditorium, the Sarah O'Kelly Municipal Auditorium, and we recommend approval of the agreement so we can begin planning the renovation and restoration of the Sarah O'Kelly Municipal Auditorium.
Okay, you heard the report and recommendation of the manager, which will go to the council. Got a motion to approve the,
I'll make a motion that we approve it.
motion to approve the contract and authorize sign it. And have a second.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions?
I just need to understand what we're doing. They're gonna grant us $32,500, that's a matching grant.
Yes, sir. $32,190 is their grant agreement. We will match that with special purpose local option sales tax funds to plan the restoration of the municipal auditorium.
Well, I'm not gonna vote against it. I just wanna say it's unfortunate we don't carry some of this information forward. We did a lot of research over there and came up with the fact that it's a financial nightmare. And I'm not gonna vote against it, but I'm very concerned that, we had not, even though we got a matching grant, that $32,000 of our SPOS funds might be better spent somewhere else. There's no restrooms over there, no sewer, no water, lots of asbestos, extreme difficulty heating and cooling. We looked at it and it's just, nothing carried forward. It was just gonna be a financial, white elephant. That's all I have to say.
Anybody else? The only question I have, Al, is the disbursement's gonna be $16,095 on December the 1st, 2018.
Well, we're a little behind the power curve, sir.
That's what I'm saying.
I have emailed them, and once they get the agreement, they will disperse. I believe that because we didn't have a committee meeting, pushed it back, but again, they will disperse the money as soon as possible.
Okay, does that mean then that we, as a city, matching grant, mean that we're gonna have to obligate $16,095 of our?
No, sir, we're at the back end.
Okay, so that answered my next question about you. Okay. All right.
And this is just a planning grant. And as Councilmember Sells says, maybe the planning grant says it is a financial nightmare. But we have to at least, in my opinion, look at the opportunity. We have an architect that has experience with repurposing historic structures. So maybe the building is repurposed. This is what our planning grant is all about.
And we're not obligated to take the whole grant, to match the whole grant.
We are.
Yeah,
We are. We have to spend $32,000. In other words, what if they got into it and they spent $10,000, we spent $10,000, and they say, we decide that it's not worth pursuing.
Correct.
We can't.
Then we can stop.
Okay, that answers my question.
But whenever the bill is, if it's $2, we pay $1, the grant pays $1. We can always return the grant money.
Right, okay. And that's a possibility.
That's a possibility.
That we get into it and see it's not feasible to pursue it, I guess we can stop.
But we have to start with an agreement with Fox Theater Institute.
I'm personally not looking at the building from a financial thing. Some things in life are, in my opinion, you can't put a dollar sign on. And some people may say I'm true like that, but in my opinion, this is a part of the history that made this city. And I think as elected officials, we have a requirement to preserve the history and the buildings in this city. That's just my opinion. Anyway,
I think I go along with you, Mr. Mayor. Please excuse me for cutting you off. But it is, I think it's a worthwhile project. If I remember correctly, and this may have been during Mr. Massengale a watch, that they looked into this restoring the city auditorium, and they had a price of like $400,000. That's the figure that's kind of rested in my mind. But I think that those of us who knew Miss Sarah, she was truly one of a kind, and I think we would be doing ourselves an injustice if we didn't make the sky our limit and restore this auditorium.
Well, I'm just gonna disagree completely with the attitude of both of you. With due respect, we've got a responsibility to the taxpayer. We got 1,100 family taxpayers here, and we've got a responsibility then to spend their money wisely. We've already tripled their property taxes, so this is a reasonable amount of money to invest into investigating this. But if they come back with $400,000 or $1,000, or the sky is the limit, we better be responsible to the taxpayers that are footing the bill, because we're not doing it.
yeah, let me just say that it's my understanding not a dollar of the tax money taken from the real estate tax and all will go to this. This is money that's been taken or will be taken from the sales tax, and that's what it's collected for. We put a referendum out and said, will you allow us to collect this money for the sole purpose in restoring old buildings? And the voters said yes.
Yeah, that's the $32,000. That's right.
No, that's any money, am I right or wrong? The money being used in this will all be the special purpose, local option sales tax.
Correct.
Thank you.
And I disagree with your statement.
Fox Theater, how many follow-up grants as far as construction, do you think, now that we're in bed with them, so to speak?
They do.
Good. That's what we need, grants.
Okay. Anyway, anybody else? I don't want to cut you off. All right. We need a vote in favor of signing the agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered. Next, agreement with Luther Jones to serve as public defender in municipal court.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. We have looked for a public defender since our present public defender has given us her resignation. We have found Mr. Jones, who is a public defender in LaGrange and Hogansville, and he has agreed to serve as our public defender at $300 per signed case, which I might mention is lower than his other charges to other entities, according to Mr. Jones, and we ask for your approval. This commences January, or the 2nd of January, 2019.
Okay, you heard the report. Any motion to appoint Luther Jones to serve as public defender?
I make a motion that we appoint Mr. Luther Jones to serve as our public defender in our municipal court.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Have a second.
Have a motion and a second. Have any questions, discussion?
I didn't understand the $300. It was $300 for what?
Per signed case, sir.
Per assigned case.
Yes. The municipal
Everybody
court
don't get it.
clerk.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Not the prosecutor, this is the public defender.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. Now I understand, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered.
The next item, the variance application for Brash Park subdivision, Mr. Mayor, has been taken care of by the city attorney. By email, the city attorney has informed us that decisions from the Planning and Zoning Commission are final. They do not come to the city council. Any appeal is to the Superior Court of the state of Georgia.
Okay, so that takes care of that. Next order of business be citizens' comment. Got one here. Mary McCee.
Oh. Merry Christmas. I'm here to talk to you about the appointment of committees, HPC, Planning and Zoning, Ethics Committee. I would suggest that you really take your time and think about the people that you appoint to these committees. You know, they serve for 4 years, they're not elected. Very difficult to get them off. The HPC, Mr. Grishaber, that grant that we got from the Box Theater, was the HPC involved in that?
Yes, they were.
In what way?
I believe they were informed of it, and I believe they were here when we selected the architect who was going to help us in the planning.
Oh, did they originate the grant?
No, sir.
Okay. In my opinion, the HBC has, well, basically been a train wreck. Lack of quorums, people not showing up. I don't know what help they've been to the Historical Preservation District. They're supposed to do inspections of buildings. I don't know that there's been of any. I know Mr. C's hasn't had any. And I don't know of any help that they're getting or giving, authoring for the owners of the buildings. You know, it seems to me if you're going to have an HPC and you tell somebody, look, this is what you're going to have to do. You should also give them either low financing or an opportunity to get grants, and you would think that would be the job of the commission. So I would just think about the practicality of the vision that somebody should have when they get appointed. The city's changed so much, the historical district's changed so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
Good evening, everyone, councilmen and woman. Good evening. I have a question, because I want to make sure I don't come to the council meeting all the time. But my question is the downtown area the only area that's affected by the commercial/residential area? Residential taxes, am I saying that right, correctly? Maybe you could
I
educate
pay it
me.
over on Highway 29, if my commercial building on 29 in Lone Oak, I pay commercial rates there.
Okay. But the residential, I'm speaking for me because I don't know, I want to make sure. Residential has nothing to do with the commercial, is that right? That's just like in the broad area of downtown Grantville, is that correct? I don't know.
Whatever the zoning says, man. I mean, zoning determines what's commercial and non-commercial.
Okay. Okay, let me say this, because I don't know maybe I'm not educated enough to really know all of my zoning, but I'm located in Ivy Glen. So I'm not affected, is that correct? I'm asking a question for me, personally.
It's my understanding that Ivy Glen is zoned residential.
Thank you, that was my question, because I need to make sure. I have to be educated, because without wisdom, I won't know. Also, I wanted to ask this question. I know we did the water park, the skate park with the kids. I've been living in this area for 9 years, and we still don't have a bank, a grocery store, and I'm back again asking the same question. Where are we on that? It seems like everything takes precedence over that. I don't like to go to Noonan all the time, but I do. I don't like to go to Hoganville all the time, but I do, because that's where I have to go shopping at, or in other areas when I'm there. So we have, and it's good, because we need to cater to all. We cater to the kids. When is it our turn? When are we going to have a grocery store? When are we going to have a bank? Where are we with that?
We can't dictate to the grocery stores or to the banks that they must come here. They make business decisions.
Okay.
And right now, when they do the numbers, I guess they're looking at it, it's not really feasible for them to come down. When that changes, you know, I know myself and the city manager, we're constantly swinging the bat, trying to get that home run, but when it happens, we can't really tell you. I would say, though, we finally got a restaurant down there, and he serves pretty good food.
Oh, okay.
Price is pretty reasonable.
Okay.
We have a medical clinic.
Yep.
Yes.
And ma'am, I'd like to, we all try, we all work. I know almost exactly a year ago, I think I talked to every grocery store chain on the main and begged them and tried my best, and it wasn't in the cards right now, but it's gonna happen.
Okay.
It will. It's just gonna take more rooftops. I think soon, I think Grantwood's gonna change.
Okay. And I'm not saying that you're not trying,
Yes,
because I don't know, like I say, I haven't been attending a lot of them, but that's my question from way back from 2010. So it's like, okay, when are we gonna have a grocery store, you know? So.
And also, that has been asked many times, but I just want to say that we are thankful for Dollar General. We call it our Walmart, our junior Walmart. It serves, it's pretty good. You can go there and find a few things, but we are going to get better.
It does serve.
So
it does.
It really is.
It does. Last year, I read in the paper, actually a couple of times, that EMC gave the city of Grantville, the utility, $34,000. I met some people in Grantville, and some like it, some didn't, some moved because of situations. And it was a lady who had all of her utility money except for $11. Another lady had all of her utility money except for $50+. And I was told that you turned their utilities off because of that. And that I mean, you do what you have to do, but I'm a compassionate person, if you don't know. But that really hit me hard, because I was like, just $11? Just $50-something? And so when you got the $34,000, I'm saying that, I'm just rounding it off with it. I think it probably was a little more. What do you do with that? What do you do with those funds? Or how do you?
We can't use it to pay people's utility bills. The state law says we can't give free utilities away. And that's what it would be doing. That money, when it's given for a specific use, such as culture, recreation, things along that. And that's what we use it for.
Wow.
We used it to put air conditioning in the senior center. Not that 34, I don't recall the exact 34.
Yes, it was last year in the paper. Yes, I read it actually several, it was noted in the paper a couple of times, and I was like, wow, okay. So, okay, I don't know, that's the purpose of me asking, and like I said, without knowledge, when you have lack of knowledge, you don't know. But I like to be educated. Thank you so much for allowing me to come up and ask these questions, and you have a good evening.
Thank you for your
Like my dad
questions.
used to say, the only dumb question's the one you didn't ask.
Thank
Right?
you, thank you. And I was taught, well, as you can hear my voice, I'm not from here. I'm originally from Boston, and I was always taught as a kid, no question is a dumb question. Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
great
you so
evening.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms.
All right, any other comments? Having none, citizen, council members. Alan Wake,
Yeah, I'd make this short. I just want to tell everybody Merry Christmas. And thank you for letting me serve and survive my first year on the Grantville City Council. I'd like to welcome Jim aboard, and I'm looking forward to next year. And I hope y'all all have a good holiday.
That's it? Okay. Mr. King.
Well, I'll be equally as short as Alan, and wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, have a safe and Happy New Year, and look forward to seeing you in 2019.
Thank you. Ms. Adams?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to say Merry Christmas to all, and we all know that Jesus is truly the reason for the season, and want to keep him in the center of our lives. And please remember tonight what I said, and
January. The Red Mexican is still on the books. It should open end of January, end of February, somewhere in there. And then we've just shown one of the buildings. I call it the Coca-Cola building. It's just across the tracks behind the passenger depot. We just showed that to a gymnasium aficionado, for lack of a better word, who has the one at Summerbees. So he's evaluating bringing that to Grantville. So my goals are help the mayor and council do these things. The business attitude is so important. My plan is to have dinner at Nico's before I come to the council meeting. If anybody wants to come and talk to me at 5:30, an hour before the meeting, I'll be there. That's my plan, to be there every night, an hour before we have the meeting. And of course, we want to represent the citizens, and it's my thinking that controlling spending and bringing business pays the bills. Residents demand services that cost a lot of money, so we all want to. Everybody on this up here wants to improve business, I'm sure. So I'm hoping that we can work on that, and that's why I'm here. And also want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
I just want to echo what the rest of them said as far as wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. Hope we all have a very prosperous new year. I look forward to serving the next 4 years, and thank y'all for the honor of and the opportunity to do that. And I will promise what I've always promised. I will always try in my capacity to do what's best for the city first, and what the citizens of Grantville want. Not what I want, but what the citizens want. The only way I know what that is like you calling me, coming to the council meetings, or whatever is required, but that's my intention. And again, Merry Christmas. Mr. Appreciate.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. I have one thing. We have scheduled a strategic planning session for Saturday, February the 16th, 2019. Please save that date, February the 16th, 2019. It will be a community-wide strategic planning session, so if you have any suggested attendees, please forward them to me. We will attempt to limit the number of attendees to 30. However, we always have some folks that can't attend, so please forward any suggested attendees to my attention. I appreciate it. Hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And that's all, sir.
Okay. Anything else? Any reason to go to executive session?
No, sir.
Mayor, could he repeat the date and time again for that strategic plan?
February the 16th, 2019.
Yes, sir.
Time.
It will commence at 9 a.m., approximately run till 4 p.m. We will have breakfast and lunch on site. Breakfast will start approximately 8:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, nothing else comes before the council, adjournment is in order.
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
Have a motion, second, any questions here, none, all in